Recap. Tales of Herding Gods, Chapter 457. Chapter Xiongqie clutched the green dragon bead tightly in her small arms. The treasure was large, nearly the size of an adult's fist, and for a child as young as she was, holding it required no small amount of effort. Qin Mu observed Liu Ruyin's behavior carefully, and in that instant his suspicions were confirmed. The green dragon bead truly required a pure and innocent young girl to awaken the full might sealed within it. No wonder the lands of West Earth treasured the little princess so dearly. Liu Ruyin lifted her sleeve and covered most of her face, leaving only a single eye exposed. That eye was ghastly pale, its sclera white as bone, and within it floated a lone black pupil no larger than a soybean. The sight was uncanny and unsettling. Cult Master, do not misunderstand. Behind Liu Ruyin, thunderous explosions rang out one after another. The corpses that seemed half dead and half alive retreated backward, each body falling neatly into its respective coffin as the lids slammed shut on their own. Liu Ruyin herself sprang lightly back into her coffin and reclined inside with a soft chuckle. We merely wished to check whether the little princess was unharmed. Now that we have seen she is safe and sound, Ruyin's heart is at ease. Farewell. At once, the coffin sprouted legs again and began scrambling swiftly up the steep cliffs. "Master of the House Liu, please wait a moment," Qin Mu suddenly called out. Liu Ruyin, who had been about to close the coffin lid, paused when she heard his voice. She slowly straightened her body and forced a smile onto her face. "Cult Master, please show us mercy and leave us a path to retreat. Do not be ruthless." Her voice quivered faintly, and it sounded as though she were extremely afraid. Qin Mu was puzzled. Was it truly only because of the green dragon bead? Xiongqie held it in her arms, and though the girl could unleash its power, the artifact should not have been so terrifying. Did Liu Ruyin and the others truly need to be this fearful? "Master of the House Liu, you all came here under orders from True Heaven Palace?" Qin Mu asked with a genial expression. "Since you are acting on orders, there should be experts from True Heaven Palace within your clan, correct? I would like to meet them. Could Master kindly introduce them to me?" Liu Ruyin was slightly stunned. Qin Mu's smile was warm and gentle, like the spring breeze. "Master of the House Liu may not know this, but I harbour no ill will toward West Earth. I have merely come to observe the customs and local conditions. As for bringing the little princess with me, it is only because she is from West Earth and is more familiar with the geography." "Familiar with the geography of West Earth?" Liu Ruyin blinked in disbelief. Xiongqie was only about 6 years old and had lived in True Heaven Palace since she was very young. At most, she would only remember the geography of her own home. How could she possibly be familiar with the geography of West Earth? Letting her lead the way would be no different from a blind man trying to describe an elephant by touch. This cult master Qin from Middle-earth certainly knows how to fabricate lies. Liu Ruyin spoke carefully as she weighed her words. "Cult master Qin, a mighty dragon cannot suppress the snake of its native land. Even if your background is extraordinary, my Liu family is not easily provoked either. Take care that this does not end in a struggle to the death." Qin Mu looked at her with astonishment. "What is Master of the House Liu talking about? I simply wish to meet the senior sister from True Heaven Palace and resolve the misunderstanding between us. I truly harbour no ill intentions. If my thoughts were otherwise, I would have already asked the little princess to activate the green dragon bead. If that had happened, do you think any of you would still have been able to escape?" Liu Ruin's expression flickered between light and shadow. Yet Qin Mu's patience was remarkable. He merely stood calmly in place and waited for her reply. He remained silent, and the corpses lying within the coffins did not dare to move even slightly. After a moment, Liu Ruyin chuckled softly. "Since Cult Master Qin has spoken so sincerely, how could I refuse? Cult Master, please step into my coffin and allow me to bring you to the Liu family so you may meet the senior sisters of True Heaven Palace. I wonder, does Cult Master have the courage?" Qin Mu smiled faintly. "Why not?" As he spoke, he lifted Xiongqie in his arms and leapt down from the dragon Qilin's back, landing beside Liu Ruyin's coffin. When he glanced inside, he could not help but freeze in astonishment. From the outside, the coffin appeared rather ordinary in size, yet within it lay a vast interior space. Its length and width stretched over 30 yards, while its height rose 15 to 18 yards high. It resembled a spacious mansion. Inside were tables and chairs, and even a jade bed rested within. The interior had been divided into several rooms, with dining and living quarters arranged neatly. There was even a small area prepared for a servant's residence. It was no different from a small yet exquisite palace. Qin Mu clicked his tongue in amazement. When Liu Ruyin had jumped out of the coffin earlier, he had been startled and thought that a corpse had suddenly sprung to life. Never had he imagined that the coffin was actually her living residence. He turned his gaze toward the other black coffins and wondered inwardly, could they all be like this as well? Are they all the living quarters of Liu family disciples? These coffins that sprouted legs and walked about on their own are truly marvelous. Though the method is different, the result seems similar to Sister Yi's moving city. Fatty Dragon, you can come in too! Qin Mu turned back and called out with a smile. The dragon Qilin hesitated slightly before shaking his head. Cult Master, I am somewhat superstitious. I would rather not go inside. Qin Mu laughed and scolded him lightly, then carried Xiongqie into the coffin himself, leaving the dragon Qilin outside. With a loud bang, Liu Ruyin closed the coffin lid, and immediately the coffin set off again. Striding swiftly forward, some even floated up into the sky, escorting Liu Ruyin's coffin as they crossed mountain after mountain. The dragon Qilin followed closely behind them. After crossing several mountain ranges, he suddenly saw an enormous mausoleum nestled among the peaks. Countless black coffins from the Liu family floated around it like dark boats drifting across the sky. They lined up and entered through the gaping mouth of the mausoleum. The dragon Qilin shuddered as unease crept into his heart. Even so, he steeled himself and followed the coffins into the mausoleum. Inside the coffin, Qin Mu sat calmly with Xiongqie in his arms. Liu Ruyin sat opposite him, and the two of them silently observed each other. The atmosphere was heavy and solemn. Suddenly, Qin Mu smiled and broke the silence. Master of the House Liu, who is the chief of your Liu family? The soybean-sized black pupils in Liu Ruyin's eyes rotated slowly before returning to normal size. She smiled gently in return. Cult Master Qin is an outsider, so naturally you are unfamiliar with our Liu family. I am its head. Qin Mu was startled. Then it seems I was correct to address you as Master of the House Liu earlier. Sister Ruyin, the technique practiced by your Liu family is extremely strange. When I saw you earlier, I truly believed all of you were corpses. Could you tell me why you cultivate in such a way? Liu Ruyin suddenly felt warmth stir in her heart. She glanced at him with barely concealed delight. Your words are truly sweet. Among the people of other clans, especially the men, who would dare speak so pleasantly when they see me? Most are fortunate if they are not frightened to death. Some of those wretched men even wet themselves in terror, while the souls of others scatter into nothingness. Yet Cult Master can sit calmly and chat with me, even calling me sister. Xiongqie looked bewildered and thought to herself, Big Brother seems to call every woman he meets sister. The corpse-like aura surrounding Liu Ruin's body faded slightly as she smiled again. The technique of our Liu family is different from ordinary cultivation methods. None of us bore the surname Liu while we were alive. Only after death do we become Liu. Qin Mu's heart trembled violently, and he exclaimed, You are all. Our Liu family of West Earth possesses an extremely ancient origin, Liu Ruyin explained. It began when a spirit was born from a corpse. According to legend, the ancestor of our Liu family was buried beneath a willow tree. Not long afterward, spiritual consciousness awakened within the corpse, and he took the surname Liu. Because we are beings born from corpses, our physical bodies are already dead and incapable of reproduction. However, we still possess a lifespan. Once the time of our spirits expires, our souls disperse and vanish. People outside say our Liu family is strange and avoids contact with outsiders, but they misunderstand. It is not that we refuse to interact with others. It is because we are spirits born from corpses, and we fear being captured and refined into spirit weapons. When the experts of True Heaven Palace ordered you to deal with me, you agreed. Could it be that True Heaven Palace has the ability to subdue your Liu family and refine all of you into spirit weapons? Qin Mu asked coldly. Liu Ruyin's expression shifted slightly. Qin Mu burst into laughter, his demeanor becoming warm once again. Sister Ruyin, to become the chief of the Liu family, your cultivation must surpass mine by a wide margin. Why then would you still fear me? Little brother is merely boasting and bluffing. I only know how to frighten others. In truth, I have no confidence at all. Liu Ruyin finally relaxed and smiled in response. You truly gave this sister quite a scare. What is Cult Master Qin's cultivation realm? I am merely in the Six Directions realm. Does that put sister at ease now? Qin Mu answered honestly. Liu Ruyin indeed felt reassured, yet she remained wary of the green dragon bead held in Xiongqie's hands. That treasure was the greatest nemesis of the Liu family. Once the power of the dragon bead was unleashed, even the most powerful experts of the Liu family would be unable to resist it. The reason the Liu family had submitted to True Heaven Palace was precisely because of the green dragon bead. Sister Ruyin, who exactly came from True Heaven Palace? What is their cultivation level? The person who came is an elder of the Yu family from True Heaven Palace, Yu Ruyi, Liu Ruyin replied. The experts of the Yu family are in the life and death realm, and every one of them is extraordinary. Qin Mu nodded gently. In West Earth, people did not place the same emphasis on cultivation realms as elsewhere. The 10,000 spirit nature technique did not rely solely on cultivation to determine victory. Instead, it relied on understanding nature and the heavens and earth. The purer one's thoughts, the stronger their perception became, and the easier it was to communicate with heaven and earth. Of course, higher cultivation also strengthened one's creation divine arts. Cultivation was still extremely important to one's power. However, for the people of West Earth, comprehension of nature and spiritual perception held the greatest significance. Sister Ruyin should be reassured now, correct? Qin Mu said with a smile. That sister is in the life and death realm, while I am only in the Six Directions realm. Sister Ruyin, if Sister Ruyi wishes to kill me, you must protect me. Liu Ruyin showed a troubled expression and replied reluctantly, Yu Ruyi and I are friends. I can only promise that she will not touch you within God Burial Valley. As for outside it, I cannot guarantee the cult master's safety. Qin Mu let out a breath of relief and expressed his gratitude. Thank you for the trouble, sister. What kind of place is God Burial Valley where your clan resides? Liu Ruyin smiled faintly. We are already inside God Burial Valley. Cult Master Qin, please step out of the coffin. The coffin lid opened, and Liu Ruyin led him outside to look around. They stood within an underground world that extended endlessly in all directions. Above them, within the ceiling of the mausoleum, a sky had been crafted with a sun, moon, and stars. Around them were passageways that led to tombs of every size. Numerous coffins drifted in and out of these passages. A small coffin floated over, and its lid flipped open. Inside sat a little girl. Sitting on the edge of the coffin, she asked, Mother, who is this? Qin Mu glanced at Liu Ruyin with confusion. The woman gazed at the child with sorrow before speaking softly. This is my little darling. She died together with me, and an elder awakened both of our spirits, so we came here to live. Let us not speak of this any further. Didn't you say you wished to meet Yu Ruyi? I will call her over and introduce her to you. Perhaps the misunderstanding between you can be resolved. Little darling, stay here and keep Big Brother company. The girl acknowledged sweetly and studied Qin Mu with curious eyes. Qin Mu did not dare underestimate her. Although the girl was Liu Ruyin's daughter, their spirits had awakened at the same time. Her cultivation realm was likely equal to Liu Ruyin's. Both were probably great experts of the life and death realm, or even the divine bridge realm. He turned his gaze toward the center of God Burial Valley, and saw a golden coffin standing upright there. It was tightly bound with thick chains and plastered with countless yellow joss papers. All kinds of runes were written across them. Who lies within that coffin? Why is it locked up? Qin Mu asked curiously. Mother says a god whose corpse has already developed a spirit rests inside, but everyone fears it might commit evil, so it has been sealed. I see. Qin Mu smiled and lowered his gaze. Little darling, allow me to perform a bit of magic for you. As he spoke, he produced a massive jade eye. This eye of mine can shine. The little girl raised her head excitedly. How does it shine? At that moment, Liu Ruyin's voice drifted over. Ruyi, That is Cult Master Qin. If there is any misunderstanding, I do not mind acting as the peacemaker." Another young woman's voice followed, accompanied by laughter. "Resolve the grudge? That would be easy. As long as he hands over the princess, the grudge will vanish." At that instant, a beam of snow-white light suddenly tore through the dim gloom of God Burial Valley before vanishing in a single flash. Qin-Mu's laughter echoed throughout the underground world. "How was it? It shines, doesn't it?" Liu Ruyin froze for a moment in shock. Then she saw Yu Ruyi standing beside her, a thin horizontal line appearing across the woman's abdomen, before her body split cleanly into two halves in the next instant. Translator Ninetails. Editor Dark Gem. Bastard! The instant Yu Ruyi fell lifeless, the entire Liu family was thrown into turmoil. From every corner of God Burial Valley, black coffins burst open with thunderous bangs, one after another, their lids flying aside as formidable silhouettes rose fiercely into the air. There were even several coffins that creaked open without a single figure emerging. Instead, dreadful pulses of power surged from within them, while divine radiance churned like storming tides inside the coffins. Though no masters stepped forth, the aura alone was enough to chill the marrow. Even though the Liu family had yet to reveal the full extent of its might, it still stood as one of the 10 great powers of West Earth. Naturally, the strength hidden beneath its surface was far from trivial. God Burial Valley was the sacred land of the Liu family. Now that Qin-Mu had slain Yu Ruyi within its borders, he had struck directly at the clan's deepest taboo. Moreover, the fallen woman had been an elder of True Heaven Palace, an event certain to enrage the hosts of this land. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh! Figures swept in from all directions, surrounding Qin-Mu in an instant. The wind itself seemed to freeze with sinister chill. Those figures flickered in the dark clouds above, their faces concealed by shadow. No one could tell whether they were men or ghosts. Just as one of the figures prepared to descend and tear the arrogant youth apart, its gaze suddenly landed on the green dragon bead clutched in Xiongqia's tiny hands. Instantly it halted, not daring to take another step. "Everyone stop!" Liu Ruyin cried out in hurried agitation. "All of you, stop moving." She turned her head to look toward Qin-Mu, only to see him calmly stuffing a gigantic jade eye into his touty sack, as though nothing of significance had occurred. Her daughter clapped her hands joyfully beside him, clearly hoping Qin-Mu would repeat the spectacle once more. A splitting headache seized Liu Ruyin. When her eyes shifted toward Yu Ruyi's corpse lying nearby, the pain in her head only worsened. Her original intention had been simple: allow Qin-Mu and Yu Ruyi to meet face to face, and nothing more. Whether they reconciled peacefully or insisted on fighting, the conflict would have to take place outside the Liu family's territory. All she needed to guard against was Yu Ruyi harming the youth. As for Qin-Mu, a mere divine arts practitioner of the Sixth Direction realm, there had been no need to pay him any particular attention. Never had she imagined such a straightforward plan would collapse into chaos. The moment Yu Ruyi revealed herself, she had been cut down by this rascal Qin-Mu, cleaved apart before anyone could react, and afterward he behaved as though he knew nothing at all. It was utterly infuriating. Killing Yu Ruyi was one matter, but the critical point was that it had happened within God Burial Valley itself, an act that would make the Liu family appear disloyal before True Heaven Palace. If the palace chose to punish them, could the Liu family truly endure it? However, handing this scoundrel Qin over to True Heaven Palace might still redeem our crime. Liu Ruyin blinked slowly as her thoughts raced. But the green dragon bead is in the little princess's hands. She cannot be offended. Just then, a fragrant breeze drifted across the valley. The other women from True Heaven Palace descended lightly from the sky like floating petals. When their eyes fell upon Yu Ruyi's corpse sprawled across the ground, their expressions twisted with fury. "Liu Ruyin," they shouted sternly. "What is the meaning of this?" Liu Ruyin's headache intensified. "This was done by Cult Master Qin from Middle-earth," she replied. "It has nothing to do with my Liu family." One of the women rebuked her sharply. "Nothing to do with your Liu family? Liu Ruyin, you speak easily. The one who died is an elder of True Heaven Palace. Your Liu family can forget about shirking responsibility." Another woman strode forward with cold ferocity. "Chief Liu, if your Liu family still wishes to survive, Capture that Qin brat immediately and hand him over to True Heaven Palace. Palace Master might then remember old ties and spare you excessive trouble. Otherwise, the entire Liu family will likely be erased from the records forever." Liu Ruyin clenched her teeth. At that moment, Qinmu's voice drifted to her ears, filled with curious innocence. "Sister Ruyin, didn't you say that only Yu Ruyi had come from True Heaven Palace? I thought she was alone. Who are these sisters?" Liu Ruyin shot him a murderous glare and sneered coldly. "I said someone named Yu Ruyi had arrived from True Heaven Palace. I never said she came alone. I also told you that several senior sisters had accompanied her, didn't I?" Qinmu suddenly understood and broke into a grin. "My mistake, then. I thought killing one sister would be enough." Liu Ruyin nearly exploded with anger. "Cult Master Qin," she said icily, "you have slain an elder of True Heaven Palace and ruined the relationship between my Liu family and the palace. Tell me, what should I do now?" Qinmu rose calmly and smiled. "Sister Ruyin, I just came from the He family. Sister Yi is currently preparing to gather all the influential families to discuss overthrowing the True Heaven Palace Master who seized the throne through rebellion. Her rule has angered both heaven and people alike. If the Yu family continues to grow stronger, your Liu family will become nothing more than food on their table. Even Yu Ruyi alone, together with these few sisters, could force your entire clan into submission. Since the Yu family exterminated the Xiong family, leaving only a mother and daughter alive, aren't you worried?" Liu Ruyin's heart trembled. Qinmu's words were painfully logical. Now that Yu Ruyi had died on Liu family territory, True Heaven Palace would never let the matter rest. The Liu family would inevitably be implicated, and even if they survived, they would have to present countless treasures as offerings to appease the palace, and the greatest treasure possessed by the Liu family was their corpses. Yet Qinmu clearly harboured ulterior motives. This scoundrel had deliberately dragged the Liu family into the same pit with him, forcing them to confront True Heaven Palace together. Still, the mention of He Yi gathering the influential families stirred Liu Ruyin's heart. The Yu family had won no affection from the great clans. When they destroyed the Xiong family, their cruelty had been absolute, leaving scarcely a living soul behind. Although the Xiong family had long held the seat of Palace Master and drawn jealousy from other powers, they had always governed with a measure of fairness. The Yu family was different. The Xiong family had possessed a population of 1 million and immense strength, yet the Yu family had wiped them out entirely. Only Xiong Shiyu and her daughter had escaped West Earth alive. Everyone else had vanished. This was not merely ruthlessness. If we could use this opportunity to overthrow the Yu family. Liu Ruyin looked toward Qinmu with hesitation. The Liu family experts around them burned with fury, yet quite a few were also silently considering his proposal. Qinmu smiled faintly. "Sister Ruyin, the Xiong family now consists of only a widow and an orphan. Even if Xiong Shiyu regains the position of Palace Master, how could she rule West Earth alone? Would she not need to rely upon the strength of your influential families? If the Yu family continues to lead True Heaven Palace, you will forever have no voice in its affairs. But the day the Xiong family returns to power will be the day all of your great families become part of True Heaven Palace itself." At last Liu Ruyin made her decision. She turned her gaze toward the small girl beside Qinmu. "Little darling, what do you think?" The girl smiled gently. "Mother has already made her decision. Why ask me? Mother may decide." Qinmu stared at the girl in astonishment. She appeared nearly the same age as Xiong Qia. Without hesitation, he pulled Xiong Qia into his arms and retreated several steps. This girl was absolutely not simple. Liu Ruyin had not consulted the elders of the Liu family, nor the mysterious coffins radiating divine light. Instead, she had asked this child's opinion. That meant the girl must be an exceptionally cunning and sinister figure, perhaps the true strategist of the Liu family. The girl smiled sweetly at him. "I was originally undecided about rebelling against the Yu family," she said softly. "Cult Master Qin has helped me make up my mind." Nearby, Liu Ruyin turned toward the women of True Heaven Palace and suddenly burst into laughter. "Senior sisters, do not worry. After you die, we will awaken the spirits within your bodies. As for whether you will awaken yourselves," she smiled coldly, I can tell you with certainty, it will not be you. Everyone, send these senior sisters of True Heaven Palace on their way." The women of True Heaven Palace cursed loudly and attempted to resist. Yet even with their extraordinary abilities, escaping death within God Burial Valley was impossible. One elder from True Heaven Palace rushed to undo the seals of the Golden God's coffin, hoping to release the corpse within and turn it against the Liu family experts. But the moment she loosened the first seal, divine light suddenly erupted from another coffin. The radiance poured directly into her eyes, ears, nose, and mouth. Her primordial spirit dissolved instantly. Only a lifeless corpse remained. Qin shivered uncontrollably. The power of the Liu family was truly terrifying. If Xiongqie had not been clutching the green dragon bead, suppressing them might have been impossible. Even more chilling was the harmless-looking little girl. Liu Ruyin's earlier request for her to accompany Qin had seemed like an impulsive decision. Now it was clear it had been carefully arranged. If the girl had suddenly struck, Qin and Xiongqie might already be corpses. The reason Liu Ruyin held the seat of chief likely had much to do with this girl. Ignoring the carnage unfolding nearby, Qin smiled gently and asked, "Little darling, what is your name?" The girl raised her head and returned a sweet smile. "Cult Master Qin, my name is Liu Zhenqing." Liu Zhenqing. Qin nodded slowly. Her innocent smile rivaled his own honest expression. Both smiles were capable of making others lower their guard. For that reason alone, Qin knew she was not someone to trifle with. The little girls of West Earth are truly not to be underestimated. Soon afterward, the women of True Heaven Palace were slaughtered by the Liu family experts. Qin led Liu Zhenqing and Xiongqie aside. He watched as an elder of the Liu family tapped the corpses of the fallen True Heaven Palace experts with a strange root. One by one, the bodies rose to their feet. It was the Liu family's spell awakening the spirits within the corpses. Qin had seen similar arts within the 10,000 spirit nature technique he cultivated, yet witnessing it firsthand was still deeply unsettling. Cultmaster Qin, the spirit revived within a corpse is not the original owner's soul. Liu Zhenqing gazed toward Liu Ruyin in the distance and whispered quietly, "She is not Liu Ruyin, and I am not her daughter." Qin froze in shock. "Yet you call her mother," he said, puzzled, "and she calls you little darling." "Liu family has no familial bonds," Liu Zhenqing replied softly, her expression dim. "Nor do we have blood relations. Our blood is cold. When I call her mother, I feel a trace of warmth within this corpse body, as if I were still alive. She feels the same." Qin looked toward Liu Ruyin as she approached them and smiled faintly. Spirits born from corpses might possess cold blood, yet they still held human emotions. Meanwhile, some people possessed warm blood in their veins, yet not a single trace of human feeling. "Cult Master Qin, are you satisfied?" Liu Ruyin asked with a half-smile. Qin laughed heartily and bowed deeply. "Sister Ruyin, please forgive me. But did you not also scheme against me by leaving Zhenqing at my side?" Liu Ruyin returned the bow and sighed. "Even so, I am still not as ruthless as you. I had no choice," Qin replied calmly. "Otherwise I could not have formed an alliance with Sister." He turned to examine the Golden God's coffin with curiosity. "Who lies within that coffin? Why is he sealed?" "Earlier I saw divine light emerging from several coffins. Are those gods and devils as well?" Liu Ruyin shook her head. "The elders who died and were revived more than a dozen times have refined their corporeal bodies into something resembling gods," she explained. "But they are not the same as the one inside the golden coffin. The corpse within it belongs to a true god." Qin leapt in shock and instinctively glanced at the coffin several more times. At that moment Liu Zhenqing coughed lightly. Liu Ruyin immediately understood. She smiled meaningfully. "The sky is growing dark. Why doesn't Cult Master Qin stay the night and depart tomorrow morning? You may rest here tonight. My coffin will be slightly ajar." Qin scalp tingled violently. A cold shiver ran down his spine. He immediately declared in righteous haste, "I have already promised Poison Master Mu Yingshui to meet her. I have delayed the meeting for nearly a year. Time is short, so Qie and I must hurry on our way. Farewell. There is no need to see us off." Before anyone could respond, he grabbed Xiongqie's small hand, summoned the dragon Qilin, and fled into the darkness beyond God Burial Valley. Qin Mu smacked the dragon Qilin's backside fiercely. They vanished in frantic flight. Liu Ruyin brought her daughter outside to watch them disappear into the distance. Both of them sighed with disappointment. Why is it so difficult to find a father with human affection? Liu Zhenqing muttered gloomily. Do not worry. Liu Ruyin comforted her gently. Mother will find you a good father.